In my opinion, the state of culture in the West is abysmal right now. And what I mean by that is young people do not feel optimistic about the future. Young people in general believe that politicians, that boomers, which is kind of just a lazy shorthand, but all the power structures we have are failing us and there's nothing to look forward to. And that is a horrible place for young people to be. If that's your starting place, you're not going to raise a family. You're not going to start a business. You're not going to be good members of society. You're going to just be more degenerate. And it's logical to come to that conclusion. If tomorrow is not going to be here, we might as well just party today. And so I think this comes out with YOLO investing. I'm not going to save diligently for 20 years. The world's going to be gone in 20 years. I might as well just YOLO it all in Dogecoin, right? And so that behavior is all over the place. Now, the other question is if that's true, which I think it's undeniably true, and you feel motivated to do something about it, what can you do? Well, you can go get involved politically. You can go to Occupy Wall Street. You can go to whatever crazy environmental, save the planet, throw paint on the Mona Lisa, whatever thing you think you can do to try and change the system, you can just direct your political energy there. I was doing this nonstop from, let's say, 2014 to 2017, like making phone calls for Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016 as an example. So I was politically engaged. I thought I could change the system. I quickly realized that, and I call that method vote harder, by the way, just vote harder. And what I found out is that's not going to work. That's not effective. Best case scenario, you're talking like 1% change. And then I start learning about technological revolutions. I find Bitcoin. I figure out that to steal a Bucky Fuller quote, to change the world, you have to make the old system obsolete. So essentially, let's use technology to enact our political desires in the world and force change on the world by creating tools that either can't be stopped or empower people to do things a different way. I think Bitcoin is the perfect or ultimate representation of building the future you want to see. And it's by making unstoppable tools. It's creating a monetary system that no humans can meddle with, or no individual humans can meddle with. And I think that's actually the fundamental value of this thing. It's that we're recognizing that in the past, we allowed humans or a small group of people to control the money printer. And even the best humans, under the best intentions, ultimately are full of it. They break, they steal, they get greedy, or the barbarians are at the gate. We got to print money to save ourselves. And it's very easy to justify that. In many cases, that's probably true. So raise money to go to war. However, if you can just quickly say, oh my gosh, war is coming and we need your money, even if war is not actually coming, that's a perverse incentive. That's a moral hazard, right? So Bitcoin is taking the radical position that no human should be allowed to meddle with the monetary supply. And that is an extremely radical idea. And that's what we're playing out here. In my personal belief, that is a very sound idea with good logic. I think it will, in the fullness of time, I think it will be extremely obvious that that is how money should be run. We're still right in the middle of that battle, but I think that's where we're going. Now, in terms of evangelism, okay, nihilism is the situation. Vote harder or jump on this Bitcoin thing, right? Jumping on the Bitcoin thing all of a sudden gives you some optimism in your life because you genuinely feel that your time and your talents are serving a purpose larger than yourself that has a legitimate chance of improving the world around you. And I think humans in general need to have something larger than themselves if we want to operate at our best, right? It's easy for me to be selfish and do my own thing and take pleasure learning, reading, whatever. But there's no way I'm at my best if I'm self-serving. And so maybe that's have a family. Maybe that's religion. Maybe that's work for a company or a nonprofit or an idea like Bitcoin that you believe will change the world. And I think what we find out is both one, aiming at something bigger than yourself just puts you on the right path. Then Bitcoin all of a sudden starts to make you a little bit more wealthy, assuming you stay humble, stack sats, have some time on your side. Most people find themselves in a better financial situation. What does that do? Now all of a sudden it's easy to be optimistic about the future, to think long term, to have a family, to get healthier. All these things are correlated with being optimistic about the future. And so when you start to get a taste of that, then you interact with the Bitcoin community and you realize that, whoa, most of my, let's say, normie friends are not so great to be around. I leave kind of feeling sad. I'm not necessarily speaking about me personally. Like in general, there's a juxtaposition between mainstream culture and Bitcoin culture. You start swimming in Bitcoin culture and you realize that there's a fraternity of people who are bettering themselves, who are optimistic about the future, who are genuinely good people. And you go, whoa, wait a minute. This is the community I want to spend time with. This makes me want to be a better person. This is a group of people trying to change the world. I want to be a part of this. And so then you get swept up in that ecosystem. You genuinely feel like you discovered a secret to the universe, and you start evangelizing like a psychopath to all your friends and your family. You're like, I figured out the secret. And rightfully so, humans have this gut radar. When they hear bullshit, they know. And so we come off like charlatans, we come off like cult members. And so people dismiss us and we fail at orange pilling. We're too eager, right? And I think most Bitcoiners go through this arc where you discover the secret to the universe. Then you alienate all your friends and family for being a psychopath. Then, it's a hero's journey. Then you go back in the cave and you go, wait, if you're aware, wait a minute, why is this not working? Oh, I'm being too eager. And then you sort of refine your pitch. And at that point, you're actually ready to evangelize, which is a much more, I think Matt Odell said, like, shill lightly. I think that's the right approach. It's like leave breadcrumbs, but you can't hit someone over the head with this one. It's too big. And genuinely understanding Bitcoin is a challenging process. And most people are intellectually capable of this, but their ego gets in their way, their preconceived notions get in the way. Their desire to fit in with the social herd gets in the way, because if it's not socially acceptable in their friend group, it comes at a high cost to adopt such a thing. And so all the early Bitcoiners, in my opinion, are generally like the highest correlation of early Bitcoiners is they're comfortable not following the herd. They're on the vanguard of culture. They're on the vanguard of society. For whatever reason, they're comfortable being an outsider, at least to some extent. And I think we're starting to cross the threshold there, where all of a sudden now Bitcoin is almost mainstream enough where you get social points for adopting Bitcoin rather than social points for avoiding Bitcoin. And so once that happens, it's game over. I don't think we're there yet, but we're getting there. Yeah, that was a long-winded answer. Hopefully I got to the heart of your question.
What are your thoughts on, like, again, where we are 100 years, like, say what we think is going to happen happens. Is it that next fourth turning where people are like, yeah, this is great. Like, we can do crazy credit. We can do ridiculous things. Like, what are your thoughts in that regard? I don't know how much thought, I'm sure you have it, maybe it's what, your thoughts 100 years from now or 80, years from now, this 50 to 500 year money.
If you want the answer to that question right there and you like that spicy clip, check it out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. But if you want the full interview in its entirety, all the spicy clips put together, and you're not going to want to miss it, believe me, then check that out here. Come on, we'll see you in there.